All right, everybody, shalom and welcome. Prime Minister Netanyahu flew down to Florida and went to see President Trump at Mar-a-Lago. The discussion seems to be about Iran, how to contain Iran, how to contain China, how to deal with Iranian proxies, Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, how to deal with Syria, what's the future, and questions about Judea and Samaria, the so-called West Bank. Let's watch the Prime Minister's and President's press conference where they talked about these issues. We took the liberty of editing a little bit just to get rid of the redundancies and pauses. In order to analyze this even better, I asked Malkah Fleischer, the co-hostess with the mostest, to join me. Shalom, Malkah.
Hey, Yishai, how are you doing?
Doing great. And let's get together now for this for a little viewing party of President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu as they got on the stage and spoke to the press at Mar-a-Lago.
Going to be over here for a couple of days, and maybe we'll be surprising us on New Year's Eve. That'll be fine.
Thank you.
And it's wonderful seeing you and Sarah and your whole group. Very talented group. We've done very good work together, and it'll continue. So thank you very much, people.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. In addition to what I said, that we've never had a friend, even close a friend, as President Trump in the White House. I think he's been extraordinary in his friendship and his support for Israel, his principled positions, his willingness to just cut through and get to the essence of things. And I don't say that as a compliment. I just mean it. But I want to say something else. I think we have a partnership, if I can quote you, second to none. I think it's allowed us to do enormous things. You know, people said there was a different conception at one time, which means that America can advance its interest in the Middle East if it opens a lot of daylight between it and Israel. And President Trump has done the exact opposite. He's achieved remarkable things in the Middle East because we work together. We talk about our ideas. Sometimes we have different ideas, but we work it out. And most of the time we see eye to eye. But it's been a remarkable experience, and this was a very, very productive meeting.
First thing is, what's with the raspy voice, Prime Minister Netanyahu? What is he, the Godfather out there? He's like, I just got to tell you something. We're going to take care of things together, me and you, Trumpy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Well, it's dry on those airplanes. You know, he's been flying.
Yeah. But, I mean, do you hear that raspy voice? That's a different Netanyahu voice that we've had in the past.
That's just like, listen, we're talking privately.
It's me and you.
Tell you about
mano y mano.
Yeah, our relationship is second to none. That means there's not a first one except for us. We're first. Everything else is second.
Don't be double crossing me, okay?
Yeah.
It's like la da 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 da. He's got that voice on. But on the other hand, I think what he said is very true, which is that I'm guessing that President Trump really doesn't do a lot of banter, small talk. I think they really do get right to the serious issues. That's the face that both of them have. We're going to get to serious issues. We're going to cut deals, we're going to have security understandings. We're going to push back on bad guys. Like I get that feeling for sure. And then there's hints that you're going to see throughout, which one Netanyahu just dropped, which is like they don't agree on everything. Trump is going to say that as well. He's like, we don't agree on everything, but we share ideas, we discuss it. And listen, we take it for granted, but to see these two men, the leader of Israel and the leader of the United States standing there on a principled stance, obviously giving each other kavod, which is honor, it is pretty remarkable. It's a pretty remarkable thing. And if you want to take it to a biblical place, to see kind of like Jacob and Esau, or these kind of two different energies work in concert together, it's special. And, you wonder whether that's going to be something that you're going to see in the future, and Prime Minister Netanyahu is very right. There's been many presidents who have wanted to put daylight. They've wanted to throw Israel under the bus in order to be friends with Saudi Arabia or Egypt or whatever it is. If it's a Carter with Egypt, if it's Clinton with the PLO, with Yasser Arafat, if it's Obama with the Saudis, to see a president of the United States that's not throwing Israel under the bus, even though he's got a lot of pressures from within and from without, from within his own cabinet, and from Qatar and other players. And there's a principled stance there. I think it's probably good for America, and a lot of people have argued that, including guests on my show here. But to see it is pretty remarkable. You have to admit, right, Malkah?
Well, yes. And these are two administrations that have had a lot of dealings with each other. These are even two guys who've seen each other a lot recently. You know what I mean? Ever since Trump's come into the office, which is like a year ago now, basically, right? They have seen each other like 3 times.
No, I think this is the 5th.
The 5th time in this current administration. Wow, I'm wrong. And anyway, that's a lot. That's more than I see my family. You know what I mean? That's like a lot of seeing each other. So these are people who feel very comfortable in a room together. I would not say that the Trump administration is inclined to throw Israel under the bus. And I'm agreeing with you. However, I think that it is important to say that the United States makes U.S. interests clear, which is its job. Let's just be honest. It's the U.S. administration's job to look out for the interests of the United States. And sometimes I'm not sure that it thinks that its interest lies with allying like 1-for-1 with Israel. We've seen that the United States, at least this administration, has a very strong relationship with Qatar. When Israel attempted to eliminate the Hamas upper echelons in Qatar, the United States issued a special executive order saying that anyone who attacks Qatar attacks the United States. They've never issued anything like that for Israel, and we've undergone way more serious attacks than the attack that Israel committed on that specific site in Qatar. They're selling F-35s or whatever it is to these like most advanced warplanes to the Saudis, even though Israel has said explicitly that it doesn't want the United States to make those sales. And it doesn't seem to me like the Trump administration is trying to like distance itself from the Arab world for the sake of a stronger alliance with Israel. It seems to me like it knows that Israel is a terrific ally, and the Trump administration unquestionably has been very helpful to Israel and very respectful of Israel and help us to advance our interests in many arenas. But is it like, twin boys who will never be drawn asunder? Not necessarily.
Right. And I do want to actually say, Malkah, that the Pentagon just announced a big sale, and that is the sale of $8.6 billion for F-15 fighter jets. Okay.
To us.
So that to Israel. Oops. Let me
That's a big deal.
Yeah. Let me just show that for a second so we could see it. So there's a lot of jets. These are like 20 jets that are coming to Israel, 25 F-15 jets, and that's a big deal. The continuing technological superiority of Israel, especially in the skies, is absolutely key to Israel's security.
Right, and we're not like some countries that like park our stuff, our cool new toys in the like fancy new garage that we built for it. We use those things. You know what I mean? You have seen now over and over again that those fighter jets will get in the air, and they will be doing active duty. So those are important sales.
All right, let's keep going.
And we'll continue to be with you. And a lot of good things are happening in the Middle East. We have peace in the Middle East, and we're going to try and keep it that way. I think we will be very successful in keeping it that way.
What was that?
Congrats.
We have peace in the Middle
everybody.
East.
Congrats. We have peace in the Middle East.
Stand down. There's peace in the Middle East. We're going to keep it that way. Whew.
Which is
I didn't know about
not
that.
The same as what the Pentagon is selling us.
It's funny.
But that's okay.
It's a funny thing to say. You have to wonder what that statement's about. Like there's peace in the Middle East. That's the way you see the situation.
I don't know. I think that Trump is like kind of a black and white type of person. And if he sees that there's no, Israel was in a very fierce ongoing war for 2 years. And now it's not like we're not in a war. It's not like there is peace in the Middle East like Trump is talking about, but are there active battlefields in which tanks are rolling around every day? Less.
Okay. But definitely that was like something to give you pause, or maybe it's one of those Trump things that you just don't. He doesn't mean that exactly, but he means that, as you said, the situation's under control, and okay, we're going to keep it under control like that. Let's keep going.
Any questions, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to know if you and the Prime Minister talked about having Israel pull back its troops before Hamas fully disarms. I know that's been an issue. Did you push for that today?
Well, we talked about Hamas and we talked about disarmament. And they're going to be given a very short period of time to disarm. And we'll see how that works out. Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner will be in charge of that from our side. But if they don't disarm, as they agreed to do, they agreed to it, and then they'll be held to pay for them. And we don't want that. We're not looking for that. But they have to disarm within a fairly short period of time.
So Steve Witkoff and Kushner are in charge of disarming Hamas.
Excellent.
It's just kind of funny. It's like a funny thing. These like two American Jews are like out there. We're going to disarm you, Hamas. We're going to disarm.
I don't know. These are the same people who have very strong dealings with Qatar, and they push us to capitulate to the whims of Qatar. So I'm not sure that.
It's just kind
I'm
of.
not sure that I have a lot of confidence.
Right. It's just a little funny. It's like Witkoff and Kushner are going to be in charge of disarmament. I would say the IDF should be in charge of disarmament. Also, disarming Hamas. That doesn't seem to me to be a realistic.
Also, I thought we were supposed to do that months ago. I wonder why this is like a new. It's like a new concept. Okay, now it's time to disarm Hamas. What happened 6 months ago? Like, why are we only disarming Hamas now? Like,
I don't remember
of stage one.
I don't remember that disarming Hamas was one of the war aims. I thought it was to destroy Hamas.
That's one of Israel's war terms. And if you want to talk about why Israel should have not gone along with this deal, that's like a whole other story. But since Israel is in the deal and our deal was to disarm Hamas, it's just a surprise that this is like coming up now. And now, like, here we have the famous phrase again, hell to pay, right? Trump warns there will be hell to pay if Hamas does not disarm. So I think we have yet to see what that really means, because he's threatened it so many times, and yet it doesn't seem to materialize.
Israel withdrawing its forces?
Well,
can we turn up the volume a little bit on them?
We'll talk about that.
Mr. President,
Yes.
Mr. President, did you have a message for the Prime Minister about the West Bank? And are you at all concerned that Israeli settler violence, could be undermining the peace plan?
Well, we have had a discussion.
Well, the question is, what about the Judea and Samaria, the so-called West Bank? What about settler violence? So whoever is asking this question is a person on the left trying to besmirch Israel and Jews living in Judea and Samaria. That's the effort there. And he's saying, okay, President Trump, what about settler violence? What about the so-called West Bank? Let's see what the president answers.
Big discussion for a long time on the West Bank. And I wouldn't say we agree on the West Bank 100%, but we'll come to a conclusion on the West Bank.
If I could ask, what is the disagreement?
Well, I don't want to do that. It'll be announced at an appropriate time. But he will do the right thing. I know that. I know him very well. He will do the right thing. Yes.
Well, that was a masterful Trumpian way to just, obfuscate the question. It's like, he's going to do the right thing. We have a kind of disagreement. We haven't really made a decision. This is not the time to talk about it. But the bottom line is that Israel and the nationalist camp that elected Netanyahu and his government wants more sovereignty in Judea and Samaria, wants to push back on the PLO, the PA, and take control of our heartland. And that is still something. I mean, again, had we just done it, President Trump would have been happy to accept it, most likely. But okay. Some people and some of my friends say, no, that President Trump wants to keep Israel small, even though he respects Israel. Other people say, no, President Trump is waiting for Israel to be big. It's just that Netanyahu is not willing to do it.
Yeah, it's hard to know. It makes me nervous a little bit, of course, when Trump says we don't agree on things, but he'll do the right thing.
Yeah.
I just, I don't know, that gives me some red flags, but all right, what can you do?
There is a growing fear of a confrontation between Israel and Turkey. How are you going to ease this tension given the fact that President Erdogan calls Mr. Netanyahu Hitler and compares Israel to the Nazis?
Well, I know President Erdogan very well, and
Okay, so the question is about Turkey, and Turkey has made bad statements, and much more than bad statements against Israel. They're trying to take over Jerusalem. They're trying to get into Gaza. There's no question about it. They are in many ways an enemy state under Erdogan, not the Turkish people. Let's see what President Trump answers.
as you all know, he's a very good friend of mine, and I believe that, and I do respect him, and Bibi respects him, and they're not going to have a problem. They're not going to have a problem. I know him very well, and you've seen me do things with President Erdogan and Turkey that nobody else could have done. We're not going to have a problem. He's done a fantastic job. I'm with him all the way. I'm with Bibi all the way. Nothing's going to happen. Yes.
You know. One wonders though. Let's take that at face value. You're the boss. You're taking care of everything, and you're friends with Erdogan, and you're friends with Bibi, and these guys, you're gonna hold them both at bay. They're not gonna go at each other's throats. What happens when you're gone? What happens when you're gone? Like what kind of policy are we dealing with? Are we dealing with policy for the next 3 years, or policy that's for a vision down the line? It's an interesting question, and also Trump seems to. Sometimes I think to myself, he's really concerned with other things, let's say containment of China. And so therefore, he's not as worried about this right now. So he's like, okay, you guys keep at bay. You guys play nice. I got this other issue. Okay, you know what? I mean, at the end of the day, President Trump does not control the world. This is his opinion, the way he's articulating American policy. It's important to keep it in perspective, right?
Yes, but that's not who you're dealing with. You're not dealing with a person who keeps it in perspective. And I think that's what all of us a little bit love about him, which is that he truly feels like if he can hold all the strings in the right order and at the right tension, then he can control the world. And there is a little bit of truth there. Like he does manage to throw his weight around hard, and people listen to him in a different way than that they listened to previous American presidents. Part of the reason being that he seems volatile and he seems like somebody who will follow through on threats. So, countries are nervous to go up against him. And I'm not sure that I don't think he's being reckless per se with U.S. policy, but at the same time, I'm not sure that he's thinking about 30 years into the future. Right. I think he's thinking about his administration and his legacy and what will be said about Trump at the end of this administration.
All right, let's keep going with President Trump and Netanyahu. So basically, he's demurred on Turkey. He's demurred on Judea and Samaria. He's said about Hamas, yeah, we're gonna Steve Witkoff and Kushner, they're going to put on their tactical gear and get in there and disarm.
I do not feel great about that. That's the one I don't feel great about. I'm just like,
yeah. By the way, Israel came to Mar-a-Lago with information that Hamas has 60,000 Kalashnikovs, rifles. Where do they get them? Obviously through the tunnels between
and through our great
Sinai.
friend Egypt.
That's right.
Who we just made a big gas deal with for the next couple dozen years.
Well, that gas deal could be seen as a type of containment, though, right? Because
that's what it's meant to create economic
dependency.
Dependency between the countries.
That Israel is not moving quickly enough to phase 2 of the peace plan.
Well, I'm not concerned about anything that Israel's doing. I'm concerned about what other people are doing or maybe aren't doing. But I'm not concerned. They've lived up to the plan. They're strong, they're solid, and sometimes they don't understand when somebody violates something that you want to give them a second chance. Well, we'll give them a couple of second chances, but no, Israel's lived up to the plan 100%. Don't forget, we made the plan possible by taking out Iran. And speaking of Iran, I hope they're not trying to build up again, because if they are, we're going to have no choice but very quickly to eradicate that buildup. So I hope Iran is not trying to build up, as I've been reading, that they're building up weapons and other things. And if they are, they're not using the sites that we obliterated, but they're using possibly different sites. We know exactly where they're going, what they're doing, and I hope they're not doing it because we don't want to waste the fuel on a B-2. It's a 37-hour trip both ways. I don't want to waste a lot of fuel. Okay?
Mr. President Trump, after your
Why are you laughing, Malkah?
I don't
you like that
know.
line?
This is like such a New Yorker thing to say. Like, we don't, we could take out the Iranian nuclear thing, but like, do you know what the gas prices are today? It's like, I was filling up my Lambo the other day and it was just like $100. I don't know. There's something amusing about it. I know this is like the future of our planet.
Right.
There's something that's like amusing.
Listen, the thermonuclear war is always a little bit funny.
I just can't. He's like, gas. And he said it twice too. He's like, gas is really expensive.
At the same time,
about that.
At the same time, he did proffer his first like threat. Like this was his first one. The Gazans. Well, he's like, they'll give up their weapons. The Turks are
he's
okay.
so interesting. He's like, Israel doesn't seem to understand that like somebody doesn't hold up to a deal. So you like give him a second chance. This is like P.S. This is chance like 128. It's not a second chance.
Well,
but all right.
Now he's saying he really did issue. This was a threat. I mean, he literally said, "We're going to B-2 bomb you." That's just
we hate to waste the gas.
Yeah, but that's a funny way of actually saying right. But he was saying, "I'm willing to send the B-2 bomber out against you guys."
Definitely, and that's a big statement from the president of the United States.
Yeah.
You don't want to be hearing that.
Yeah, I'm about to send stealth bombers at you, boy.
Right.
Like, okay, so here we did see, a more, how should we say, a piece of policy with teeth there. Right. He laid something out.
Your last remarks regarding the pardon request of Prime Minister Netanyahu, Herzog office told us that you have not.
This is about pardoning Netanyahu here in the Israeli cases against him of corruption.
Talk after the official request of Prime Minister Netanyahu pardon. Can you clarify?
Not pardon. Pardon means excuse me. Okay, pardon, not pardon. Pardon.
Clarify to us. Did you talk
Which
about
request are you talking about?
With the President Herzog, the Israeli President Herzog? Did you talk with him directly?
President Erdogan?
Herzog.
He is like muttering a little bit.
Yeah, she's saying weird words.
Yeah.
She has an accent that is
President Herzog. Israel has a prime minister.
Also, he doesn't understand what a pardon is. I'm telling you.
Yeah, Herzog.
Like speaking
the Israeli English.
You're talking about pardon?
Yeah.
Oh, well, you got to say that. No, I think he's going to be in great shape. He's a wartime prime minister at the highest level. He's achieved tremendous success. And I'll say it, if you had 8 out of 10 prime ministers in his position right now, or before right now, maybe, you wouldn't have Israel any longer. Israel would not exist. You have a wartime prime minister at the highest level. There could be other wartime prime ministers, but they'd lose. He won. And I think the people of Israel appreciate it. I think a lot of the people in the world appreciate it, actually. And because of that victory, we were able to get peace in the Middle East. If you had a different kind of a personality, if you had a weak person or a stupid person, and there are plenty of both of them, you would not have had success, and you might not have Israel. And you report for Israel. I know you're very proud of it, and you do a great job. You might not have a job because there might not be an Israel right now if you had a different prime minister. That's a big statement, but to me, it's a very simple statement. And, I was a big help. I'll be honest with you, big help. Somebody said in the room, if you don't have Trump, you needed a proper combination of everything. And if you didn't have that combination, which they had, you would not have an existing Israel right now. And the people of Israel know it.
The people of Israel are appreciative of President Trump, no doubt. And I think the people of Israel are also appreciative of Prime Minister Netanyahu. I myself have proffered up a lot of critique of the way the war has been handled. And I'll continue to critique it. And I have some people that are strong and important people who don't like to hear the critiques that I have brought through other excellent guests. And I don't think that we've destroyed Hamas. And I think that we have funded them. And I think they still are armed and control 47%. And I think that the 1,000 soldiers that have fallen for this are not yet satisfied with this outcome. At the same time, it is true that it's been a remarkable, that's the word that's being bandied around, combination of forces, President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu. President Trump, I have to say one thing to you, being a person who narrowly survived assassination attempts, don't forget that it's exactly this moment where we say, Baruch Hashem, thank God. Like the truth is that Israel survives. Israel thrives maybe when you're around, but Israel survives throughout the ages. Sometimes we survive even better when we have a more, an overt enemy. The point is the Jewish people survive because that's the way God created this world. And we thank Hashem for our strength and our survival, and for you, and for whatever other, things come to aid Israel. But it's important to say, Prime Minister Netanyahu, he's very smart, he's great, he's strong, and I'm here to help him. And the combination, don't forget to say, Baruch Hashem, thank God, because without God, this story wouldn't work. And there's a godly element here. There's been many miracles, and it's just like don't overtake it. Don't overpat yourself on the shoulders. It's Hashem who put you in this place, and you're doing the right thing. But it's God who has given you strength. Okay, I see you agree with that, Malkah. Good. Let's get back
there's not much to add. I mean, I'm glad that he's proud that he was a part of securing Israel. And
that's right. That's right. You're right.
We should look backwards and recognize what precarious moments we have gone through and survived, and that Hashem has brought us through. And he feels himself to have been the right man at the right time. And I appreciate that. And he's right.
I like what you said. There's something that you said there that I liked. I like there's something you said there, which is a very, you said it. It touched a little nerve in my heart. That's a mixed metaphor, but it's this issue of being proud of helping Israel. I've got this belief that every airline company should have its proudest line is the one that you send people to be pilgrims to the Holy Land, to the land of Israel. Mm. I think that I in my mind's eye, I see the CEO of Lufthansa with a big picture of a Lufthansa plane flying over the Temple Mount in Jerusalem and being like, yeah, this is the proudest line. We're so proud of it. If we used to send Jews on the trains to Auschwitz, now we send the Goyim, the nations, to visit Jerusalem and the Temple Mount and God. We've made teshuvah. We've made repentance. That's what I'd like to see. And
we have to do more of that, and then they'll do more of that.
But I like the way you said it, that President Trump is proud of being part of the story of Israel. And that's right. I like that. Everybody's got a hand in it, should go to sleep at night, be like, I'm proud to be part of the story of Israel, because that's God's dream. I like that a lot.
Yeah. And I want to extend that out to also all of your listeners, Yishai, who are listening now. You may not be the president of the United States, but you have an impact, and you never know how great it can be. So don't underestimate yourself.
Quite.
That's why they like me, and it's why they actually like him. He's got a little bit of a love-hate more than I do over there. But you know what? Even the haters have a lot of respect for him. There's a lot of jealousy about him. A lot of jealousy. Jealousy is a bad word, but I believe you.
Rabbi Rabbeinu Trump is now talking to us. Forget now about politics, thermonuclear war. There's a lot of people out there that are jealous of him. Jealousy is a bad word. Jealousy is a bad word. It's a bad word.
I wouldn't know from it.
They shouldn't use that word. Rabbeinu Trump
would not have Israel right now, so it's a big deal. Yeah, please.
President, a recent poll showed that as many as half.
I recognize that voice. That's my good friend Alex Trayman from JNS. and I hear him asking a question of President Trump. Let's hear what Alex has to say.
Gazans would be willing to leave the Gaza Strip if afforded the opportunity to do so. Back in February, you said that all Gazans should be.
I heard that number today. Half of Gaza would leave. I've always said it. I said if they were given the opportunity to live in a better climate, they would move. They're there because they sort of have to be. I think it would be a great opportunity. But let's see if that opportunity presents itself. But we're helping the people of Gaza.
The opportunity of October 7th has presented itself. The refugees want to leave.
I think
Open
he's saying
the
something
door.
very different, Yishai.
Go ahead.
I think that he's actually saying, I think what he's saying without saying it is that Israel and also the United States have looked into possibilities about moving Gazans. Not forcibly extracting people per se, but allowing refugees to leave. No one, you can be the biggest enemy of Gaza and still recognize that it's a pretty unpleasant situation there now for people. And if people wanted to leave there today, they would have very few options. Very few countries have opened their doors to Gazans in a major way. I mean, people who know people and have somebody who will make them a visa, or they can pay somebody off, or this like that. That's how people are leaving Gaza today. Instead of what happens after all normal wars, which is a massive exodus of refugees into safer, more upwardly mobile places. I know that Israel has looked into options for those people, and I think the United States has too. And I think what he's saying is, let's see if there are countries who are going to be ready to take these people. So far, not really.
Malkah, I hear what you're saying, and yet I think it's actually bunk. Sorry. I love you. You're the best. Yeah, I think it's bunk. I think it's bunk
you don't
because
think they're looking? You think they're trying to keep them there?
I think it's bunk because it's easier to move these people out. Give them they want an opportunity to leave. They want to leave.
Open
where? The doors. To where? To Australia, to France, to Scotland, to Ireland, to Spain. That is dedicating every piece of policy to them. To North Africa, to Syria, to Ukraine, to where? To Iraq, to Jordan. There's an endless amount of places. You want to help these people leave. Refugees have been flooding Europe from Syria, from Turkey, from North Africa. Come on. The only people in this world that don't have a mobility opportunity is these Arabs. No, they have not seriously done that. They have not seriously tried to move them out. They're not seriously trying to open the door. They're not seriously bringing one boat to pick them up. No, they haven't. And that would be a great solution for the Gazans and for Israel. Help a lot of these people leave. The fact that there hasn't been refugees is a failure. And I think Alex was right to ask that question.
A lot. So is Israel, by the way. So we'll see what happens. But I saw that there was a poll. It was actually more than half the people would leave if they were given the opportunity. And I've been saying that for a long time. To me, it was common sense. So it's interesting.
Why wouldn't countries accept them?
Look, let's not talk about it because we don't want the controversy. Right now, we're helping Gaza. But if they were given the opportunity, I think even higher than that, the group that did the poll is usually, I call them negative pollsters. You have a lot of them. And yet this poll was, I think, very accurate, other than it would be more than half the people if given the opportunity. But they haven't been given that opportunity. So we'll see what happens.
Mr. President, have you reached?
All right. I think that was a really great question and a good stopping point for us. Helping Gazans leave is absolutely an imperative. Fighting Hamas, disarming them, I would say disarming them from breathing, helping them not exist anymore. That would be the right thing to do. Turkey, Erdogan.
We're talking about, of course, the people who are trying to attack Jews and destroy Israel.
Definitely.
Right?
We're talking about jihadis.
Right. I want that to be very
Hamas
clear.
jihadis. Thank you very much. You're absolutely
we're talking
right.
about people who, and incidentally, typically the people who want bad for us don't just want bad for us. So we need to eliminate that.
Right. They usually want bad also for America. They also want bad for Europe. They also want bad for non-jihad Arabs. They also want bad for women. They also want bad for anybody, for Sunnis or Shia or Sunni or Kurds or Alawites or Druze. They usually want bad for a lot of people. If you hate Jews, you probably hate a lot of other stuff as well. You're a hater. Malkah Fleischer, I want to thank you so much for being with me and listening to these two, no doubt, great men. And you can have policy disagreements with them, but I do, when I watch them, I say to myself, here's a guy who loves America and wants a global stability. Here's a guy that loves Israel and wants it to succeed. They have their weaknesses. They have their Qatar issues. They have their fear issues. They have their issues, and maybe some of their policies also. I think, and as I've talked about, have not won this war in a decisive manner. But at the same time, when you see these two men handling a global issue, and trying to push back on China, trying to push back on anti-Semitism, trying to, as you said, you get the feeling that President Trump wants to see Israel's welfare. We're going to have to still push for good policies, for winning this war decisively, for holding on to our land, for annexing Gaza, for annexing Judea and Samaria, for annexing parts of the Hermon range, mountain range, for getting back to Sinai.
Right.
These are all things that are policy things that we'll continue to push for. And yet at the same time,
yeah, Yishai, I just wanted to say that on your YouTube channel, which everybody should check out if they're not watching through there.
Yishai Fleischer TV.
Yishai Fleischer TV on YouTube. I published a poll, which has been answered by thousands and thousands of people. The question was, what do you think will happen? This is not verbatim, but what do you think will happen? What's really going to come out of these meetings between Netanyahu and Trump? The overwhelming majority of people thought that Israel would be strengthened as a result of the meetings. But that's not the part that I want to highlight. The part I want to highlight is that I went down to the comments and looked at what people were saying about the poll, and comment after comment after comment went something like this. I'm from the United States. We love Israel, but Israel has to do what's right for Israel and not listen to outside influences. And I think that holds true, whether you think that Trump is incredible, whether you think that Trump is not so good, whether you think that Netanyahu is incredible, whether you think that Netanyahu is not so good. We have to maintain our vision for the future of Israel and hold on to it and not be too drawn into the politics of the day, of the moment, of the soundbite or the meeting or the press conference. We have to,
or the election cycle,
100%. And we have to maintain our vision. Yes, what is happening with this country in 30 years? This is much bigger than the personalities that we witnessed on this show today. Bigger than Netanyahu and Trump, bigger than Yishai and Malkah, bigger than even the viewers, and it affects all of us, and we are all hoping and praying for the best. And that's what we should continue to do, is understand that we have to move these things forward for good, for the good of Israel, for the good of the United States. And keep our eyes on the prize.
All right, folks, you are listening to the Yishai Fleischer Show. Don't forget to support what we do. Malkah Fleischer, thank you so much for joining us today. Kol hakavod, great analysis. And you can continue to support what we do by going to Yishai Fleischer TV, becoming a member, liking, commenting, sharing, becoming a member, as I said, and also going to our web store, checking out the stuff there. It's really fun, all at Yishai Fleischer TV at YouTube. At the same time, you could also support our action on the ground, fightforisrael.org, fight for, the number 4, Israel.org. And that's where we restore the land of Israel through tractors, for amazing farmers in the land of Israel, restoration of holy and beautiful sites, and the continuing fight for a strong Israel and a strong narrative of Israel, including in the narrative war, in the narrative fight. If you want to support that, don't forget to go to buymeacoffee.com/Yishai. God bless you, folks. From the land of Israel, from the land of blessings, I send you blessings for strength, that God's face should be in your heart and in your house and with your family and with your health and with everything you need. Continue to face Jerusalem when you pray. God bless you wherever you are. Shalom, and thank you for being with us.